getting fed while locked up by Director Kwan. Honestly, not too shabby. But now he's the main character trapped in a novel. Still has to say the lines the protagonist is supposed to say. Director Kwan thinks he doesn't get the situation. The guy can't even leave, yet he's rambling on, so he reminds him again that he's been kidnapped. The secretary doesn't understand why he's doing it. Director Kwan tells him it's all because he was flirting around everywhere, which is how he got hooked. Since the secretary has gastritis, he even prepared porridge. But that's not what the guy likes right now. He's craving fried chicken. Seeing he doesn't want to eat, Director Kwan tells him if the bowl isn't empty by tomorrow morning, he'll show him something real good. He turns and leaves. The guy hears the door lock from outside. The novel says Director Kwan is a great cook. This porridge looks delicious, but he can't eat it. He knows what's coming next. Not eating will piss him off. Then they can play a better game. The next morning, Director Kwan sees the untouched porridge and gets angry. The guy quickly pulls out his prepared novel lines. Director Kwan thinks he's cute and decides to give him something more intense. Seeing the guy won't cooperate, he slaps him, making him too scared to resist. Since resisting is pointless, the guy decides to take a nap. While drifting off, he's afraid that when he wakes up, the dream will be over. He'd really hate that. But what happens next convinces him this isn't a dream. It's absolutely amazing. Right now though, he really needs to pee. The chain's too short to reach the bathroom. Director Kwan comes back. Looking at the guy's state, he acts all innocent like he doesn't know what happened. He came back early because he knew the guy wouldn't last until evening. This whole not my problem attitude is infuriating. The guy endures the stimulation and asks him to take him to the bathroom. But he deliberately moves super slow. The guy's about to cry. He supports him the whole time. Even helps him aim at the end. Director Kwan's skills leave the guy savoring the moment. He even asks if the food is to his liking. To answer him, he has to use the exact words he's given. Like some psycho obsessed with scripted responses. Today he actually tells the guy if there's anything he wants to eat, just ask. He'll make it. Right now the guy wants fried chicken. But the secretary doesn't like fried chicken. If he says that directly, won't he blow his cover? Other excuses seem evil. Director Kwan thoughtfully hands him water. This leaves the guy flustered. He tells the guy today will count as an unexcused absence. According to policy, consecutive unexcused absences mean the company will fire. Then he'll report it. All of this makes the guy even more certain this isn't a dream. He doesn't know why, but now he's really replaced the original secretary. He asks Director Kwan when he can let him out. Hearing this naive question, Director Kwan gives a wicked smile and tells him to guess when. The guy knows clearly this is Director Kwan giving the secretary hope. It's just bait, and he's the fish about to bite. Deep down the guy really wants to be at his mercy. But he can't show it. He can only act all pitiful. He keeps asking when he can leave. Director Kwan gently strokes his hair when he doesn't need to chain him up anymore and he won't leave his side. Like a loyal dog that won't leave its master even when unchained. He believes eventually the cute secretary will become like that too. If that's just an illusion, then he'll just keep him locked up here forever. Director's smile is intoxicating to the guy. Hearing him say he smells good, the guy suddenly realizes he's been wearing this shirt and tie for 2 days. 2 people in BL novels never smell bad even without bathing. Director Kwan reminds him he's still wearing this shirt and tie. This wakes the guy up. Next is a clip play he's been really looking forward to. As long as he acts shy today and refuses to undress. Tomorrow Director Kwan will use clips to give him a surprise before work. Amazing. To get to that moment, even though Director Kwan is telling him to undress now, he refuses. Director Kwan suddenly leans in to kiss him. There wasn't a kiss scene at this point in the novel. The guy covers his mouth and backs away. Director is amused by how cute he is and decides to let him off today. He has until tomorrow morning to take. The guy can't figure it out. He definitely doesn't remember this kiss scene. Just like that, Director Kwan took his first kiss. There's a feeling he can't quite describe. He's been single for 28 years, turning down all kinds of people. So his first kiss lasted until now and was just gone so easily. Though it was just a peck. Does that even count as a kiss? The next day Director Kwan brings the cooked porridge as usual. Seeing the guy still wearing the shirt and tie really fires up his desire to dominate. The porridge he makes is delicious. But only drinking porridge is too monotonous. He asks if he needs the bathroom. Before the guy answers, Director Kwan tells him to think carefully before answering. He won't come back early today like yesterday. If he's saying that, better go now. Director Kwan reminds the guy what he said before. The guy quickly changes his answer, please allow me to use the bathroom. And finally, satisfied in the bathroom, he splashes water on his face to clear his head. Every day will be like this from. Since he's already in here, might as well shower and wash his clothes. The same thing for Daisy. It's pretty gross. Anyway, when he goes out, this shirt will be ripped open in 10 seconds. She's already excited for the clip play, perfect. After showering, he gets ready to go out. So it took a while. Director Kwan is still patiently waiting outside. The long legs make the guy unable to look away. But the vibe seems off right now. Director gets up and comes over, gripping the guy's shoulders. My secretary is so capable, you know how to do so many things. Going against Director Kwan really pissed him off. Drops the guy's tie. Since he won't do it himself, he'll do it for him. Because the guy wasted so much time. Today Director Kwan is going to be late for work. He's never been late before. But he looks so hot when he's angry. Director Kwan demands to know why the guy is clutching his shirt. What's he trying to hide? Faced with his aggression, the guy starts saying the opposite of what he means. Putting on a show of resisting and not letting him touch. Fang the guy's no, stop, let me go. Stop it, Director Kwan is sick of hearing all that. Until I check for myself, I can't believe what you're saying. The guy's face goes red. Nothing's even happened yet, but he feels like he's about to be devoured. How can you be so perfect? Like this don't exist in real life, right? Before he knows it, because past living like this. The guy remembers Director Kwan asking what he wanted that day. He had a whole list ready, but when he came back, he didn't ask. Still, he comes back every day to bring food. Only then can he use the bathroom and shower. They also play some little game. Weekends are more intense, but they never go all the way. Every time it's just porridge, rice, and vegetables. The guy feels like he can't survive eating only this. Just thinking about eating something different. Director Kwan brings him steak. Wow, this isn't a dream, is it? Even though it's delicious, he needs to control his excited expression. Director Kwan still notices the guy's blissful look. It's his wildly rising mouth corners that give him away. The guy asks what he's trying to say. Director Kwan is just curious. He's never seen him smile. No matter what the occasion. Even in such a private situation as this. The guy looks annoyed. You need something funny to laugh about. If you want to see me smile, how about acting cute for me? But Director Kwan says more than smiling. He'd rather see him in pain. Like struggling in agony that feels like dying, but from pleasure. Then he stabs a piece of steak and stuffs it in his mouth. The guy wonders why it's him. Director Kwan stresses he already said this before. Because the guy keeps attracting his attention. Looks like he didn't listen to a single word last time. The guy keeps denying it. Arguing with Director Kwan never ends well. Sure enough, Director Kwan decides to give him an assignment. Write a report explaining how he attracted him. The guy thinks it's ridiculous. Director Kwan has that I don't care what you think, only what I think attitude. He forcefully stuffs another piece of steak in his mouth. While his mouth is full, he still wants him to answer. The guy thinks this is totally insane. His mouth got burned too. There was no report in the novel. Director Kwan tells the guy, anyway, I'm definitely attracted to you. He really wants him to write a report. The guy's mind is a total mess. There was never a report seen in the novel. Yesterday's kiss. He asks Director Kwan if he really has to write his very firm answer. The guy plans to just admit he attracted him, but doesn't work either. So he tries using the earlier phrasing, but that gets rejected too. He's doing everything exactly like the secretary. Why is the story different from the novel? Thinking about not writing this report using the old method. As long as he doesn't listen to Director Kwan, he'll punish him in secret ways, right? That kind of punishment would be amazing. But what if he discovers the name he uses is different from the original secretary's? Will he kill him to cover it up? To avoid that, the guy decides to make Director Kwan like him even more than he liked the secretary. Then he'll spare his life. Director Kwan leaves this report and goes to work. Is that all for today? After tormenting him for a week, today suddenly changed. This makes the guy feel more and more that something's off. His attitude today wasn't different from usual. Watching him eat. Various touches and kissing afterward. But no play. What went wrong? The only difference in the novel is the secretary was replaced. Then he suddenly remembers that day. That scene was so out of place. The guy suddenly jumps up and looks around. This is impossible. That novel never mentioned this kind of setup. Are there cameras in this room? He's about to see Director Kwan's French baguette. His heart races. Earlier the guy realized there must be cameras in the room. Though the novel didn't say so, Director Kwan is so rich, having cameras at home isn't strange at all. The guy quickly recalls what he did when alone at home. Just marveling at how smooth things are after shave. Falling asleep with the toy inside. Feeling upset about losing his first kiss, and constantly listing the gifts you want. He's totally screwed. Seeing all this, won't Director Kwan think he has split personality? Though, maybe it's not that bad. Any random excuse could work. The guy's relieved he realized about the cameras. It's not too late. What if when Director Kwan wasn't home, he took out the toys from the cabinet to play? That would be game over. If Director Kwan discovers he's not the real Secretary Chen, he'll probably kill him. The current situation is a bit different from the novel. But as long as he's the male lead from the novel, the guy has ways to win him over. After all, he can recite the entire novel backwards. But Director Kwan isn't following the novel script anymore. He's real now. Everything's unpredictable. That night Director Kwan comes back and sees the guy's report is blank. But before putting on the gloves, he gives him one last chance to explain. The guy has nothing to say. Because of the ankle chain, he can't move around much in the room. He still hasn't found the camera. Seeing the guy silent, Director Kwan stops being polite. He decides to teach him a lesson. The guy's really looking forward to this. But Director Kwan's movements are rough. The guy doesn't even get a clear look at the object. His first time performance is so. This is way bigger than his own, right? A person really have something like this? Direction is perfect in every way, no wonder the guy can't handle it. But Director Kwan won't let him off that easily. Instantly, he's been the one serving the guy. Today they're switching roles no matter what. The guy keeps crying apology, thinking this might make it easier. If you know you're wrong, you should pay the price, shouldn't you? The guy's confused. How is this different from what he thought? But this tough attitude is exactly what he likes. The performance I've been waiting for is about to start. Is this really a size humans can have? I originally wanted to perform well in front of Director Kwan. But this size is beyond what the guy can handle. He even started doubting himself. He's sure his is no different from normal people. But Director Kwan's is just too amazing. He's handsome. Everything about him is top tier. Overall, the problem isn't with himself. Director Kwan told him to practice more. The guy's pleading doesn't work at this moment. Director Kwan had been serving him all up. He never got to enjoy. This time Director Kwan is ready to enjoy it himself. The guy desperately begs and apologizes. But seeing the bite marks he left behind, yet doesn't Director Kwan feel any pain? The secretary before only knew to tell him no, don't stop. Don't do this, but today he finally gave up. Director Kwan is very happy. Since you made a mistake, you should pay the price. Don't you think so? The guy looks confused. He doesn't understand what Director Kwan. He sees him approaching with dominating attitude, looking at himself. Since you said you were wrong, I can only punish you. Hearing this, the guy is thrilled inside. This is exactly the novel's male lead he found. He never disappoints himself. But right now he still needs to save the secretary. He has to act unwilling. The guy's eyes are wet with tears, looking especially captivating. This only stirs up Director Kwan's desire even more. With your current skill level, I'm not sure you can satisfy me. But there's no choice, this is all we can do, try your best. In the end, the guy couldn't take it anymore and collapsed. Seeing that he got Director Kwan's clothes dirty, someone with a cleanliness obsession. Is this really okay? Director Kwan doesn't look angry. He gently pats the guy like coaxing a child. Seeing how gentle he is right now, the guy hesitates but still speaks up. He hopes he'll take out the toy inside. Seeing the guy's flushed face, Director Kwan loves it and can't get enough. How could he possibly let him take it out? Though he's being so mean, the guy has no choice. But later he got to eat the cake Director Kwan thoughtfully made. Finally he put down the report and went to work. A week has passed, and the report is still not written. During this time the guy understood one thing. Has been tolerating him all along. This report issue made him lose his patience. So he gave the guy punishment he could barely enjoy. Now his whole body bears his mark. Most of what Director Kwan said is true. If it were the first day of play, the guy might have believed it all. Not writing this report all this time was actually to satisfy his own. He wanted to be punished by it, but he feels if this continues, it might lower his affection for himself. He might even realize he's not the original secretary. To be safe, with 20 years of experience in romance novels, the guy decides to play hard to get with him. Make him like himself more than the original secretary. Director Kwan doesn't just want this guy as a person. He also wants his essence. Director Kwan's life has been peak success from the start. He's the second son of a world-class Kwan. At a young age, he became CEO of a major subsidiary. His precise and amazing abilities earned him the title of Inhuman. But to him, this life is extremely boring. From birth until now, he could easily get whatever he wanted. He never faced any things others spend their whole lives trying to get. He only needs to move a finger. Besides material things, he can easily gain others' affection too. But even with all this, he still can't feel happy. However, there's one thing he can't get no matter what method he uses. That's the man who only exists in his dreams. Director Kwan has been dreaming of that man since childhood, but he can't talk to him or touch him. He can only look at that face. When he grew up, this person's appearance never changed. To avoid being affected by such illusory dreams. Man is just a dream. It's all an illusion. A meaningless existence. But thinking that this man exists in dreams beyond his control makes him troubled. He wants to hear his voice, see his smile, various expressions, and how he would be at that time. Until that day, a new employee at the company caught Director Kwan's attention. Seeing his appearance, he felt very familiar. He asked the secretary who he was. To get closer to him, he personally brought him coffee. The guy expressed his thanks somewhat nervously. Director Kwan seemed kind and approachable to him, but in Director Kwan's view, the guy reacted very slowly. However, he was very diligent, so the original rumors about their special relationship disappeared. Director Kwan felt this was a pity. He hoped these rumors would continue spreading, then he could use the opportunity to make them reality. Since this guy came to the company, Director Kwan never saw that man in his dreams again. It was as if he escaped from his dreams into his life. Later, Director Kwan moved the secretary's desk to his office. He even gave him rides, all kinds of obvious favoritism, but the guy remained unmoved. From the guy's eyes, Director Kwan could tell. He just saw himself as a good boss. But that's not what Director Kwan wanted. Right now, he knows his daily life very well. But it's not enough. He wants to know more special, exciting information about it. So he set up a celebration, brought him to his home, had him drink wine he tampered with, then imprisoned him. Kwan sits in the surveillance room watching the guy, that he's been pretending all along. But he doesn't plan to expose him now. The guy is still upset that Director Kwan took his first kiss. Director Kwan is now completely captivated by the guy. Learning from surveillance that it was his first kiss. Director Kwan can hardly believe it. Has he never done such things? In the game, the guy wants to be treated roughly by him, but normally wants gentleness. So now Director Kwan has to consider his feelings. Even this kiss was seen by him as having ulterior motive. He investigated the guy's various relationships. He's been with many people, regardless of status, male or female, all prominent figures. But even so, he still kept his first kiss. Finds him increasingly interesting. He really wants to go to his side. Teach him what a real kiss is. Give him no chance to breathe, make him unable to resist. Just one kiss like this could make. From now on, only he himself can see the guy like this. Director Kwan's gaze becomes more determined. Though he really wants to go over right now. But now isn't the time. He needs to strike when he's completely unprepared. Director Kwan is startled by his own thoughts. How are these thoughts getting more twisted? From the first week of imprisoning the secretary, Director Kwan has been observing him in various ways. To his sensitivity level, he adjusts the amount of drugs in the meals. Everything is according to his and his reactions to different toys each time, so he can accept all of his desires, then devour him completely. While eating with the guy, Director Kwan had predicted the guy's reaction. Is there a special reason you always drink porridge? Though this question caught the guy off guard, he simply answered it's because he likes it. Director Kwan is curious about his reaction. He remembers hearing him mumble about fried chicken before. It's a stir-fried rice cakes and such. Now Director Kwan suddenly understands. So he likes to eat. When he fed him steak last time, he had the same expression. If he had a tail, he'd probably be wagging it happily right now. But thinking about the guy lying, Director's mood starts turning sour. Just seeing his smile makes him want to see that complete smile for unknown reasons. He feels like he's being driven crazy. He's got nothing at all. Yet he wants to see his smile. In the future, he'll want to. The guy always asks why it's him. Director Kwan always answers him the same way. Because the secretary always radiates charm, attracting bugs like me. Director Kwan already knows the guy really likes this feeling. He's also very sensitive. If that's the case, less patience and more severity should be fine. If not, he can always tamper with the food. Apparently seeing his reaction like this, Chen calmed his messy emotions. If the guy had seriously written a report, he should be able to recall what happened that day. Because he himself kept radiating charm. That's why he ended up imprisoned. Mr. Kwap is now hopelessly captivated by him. The Director Kwan, who controls everything, finally met his match. The report the guy was supposed to write remained blank. But this time he saw his thoughts on it. He wants to go out and get some sun. At first, the guy didn't write the report to defy Director Kwan. This way he'd be punished and could play games. But during this process, strange feelings developed that kept shaking him. Later the guy understood, just like why Director Kwan was troubled by his blank reports. Though he gave the guy many chances, he never wrote. Director kept telling himself not to rush. This could also serve as a reason to bully him. He could keep tormenting and making him cry. Seeing him like this gives him satisfaction. This is the feeling of controlling others that he wanted. In fact, before that incident happened, Director Kwan always thought this way. That night, because he couldn't sleep, Director Kwan decided to check the surveillance. He just wanted to see the guy's face. Opening the surveillance, he saw the guy was already asleep. Looking through the screen still wasn't satisfying. He decided going to see in person would be more interesting. Seeing him whimpering, his mouth was also swollen. It seems the earlier actions were a bit rough, but this appearance is really smug. Director Kwan reached out to see where he was hurt. He was thinking about how to apply medicine. Then the open mouth slowly closed. Director Kwan pulled his hand back after being lightly bit. He doesn't understand what he's doing. He's never touched anyone else's mucous membranes before. Because he found it disgusting. He has a cleanliness obsession. It's not because of that. Because other people's other body parts are fine. So far, no matter how intimate the relationship, he's never touched anyone with bare hands. But this time he actually touched the secretary. He's never felt so confused, even when changing his own plans. It's like the guy exists just to shake him up. Then another week, he feels like he's becoming mentally unstable. Now the secretary even openly avoids him. This makes Director Kwan feel terrible. That wasn't a kiss. Just simple touching was avoided by him, even eye contact. Director Kwan even wonders if he did something wrong. The secretary who stubbornly refuses to submit his report, constantly receiving unpunishment punishment, with that unbearable appearance. Director Kwan feel very pleased. But sometimes hate and love mix together, making emotions very confusing. But either way, he has to do it. If this continues, the secretary might not hold up. Today, while Director Kwan was at work, he stayed under the covers. Near closing time, he just watched the clock. He cried under the covers all day. He gets scared when he comes back. Seeing the guy like this, Director Kwan doesn't know whether to feel sorry. He rationally pulls his hand down. He was prepared from the start to never see the secretary smile again. That's why he carried out the imprisonment. But to let the guy rest more, Director Kwan delays his own departure time. Though he knows he's being very harsh on the guy. And the plan isn't going smoothly either. But he can't stop. He can suddenly change his attitude toward Kwan is waiting for the right moment. This is the first time in his life he's felt helpless. This day he opened the report and saw there was actually writing on it. Secretary Chen, do you want to go outside? Director Kwan really grants the secretary's every wish. He originally thought this report would be blank again. But this day he saw the secretary wrote that he wants to get some sun. Just from Director Kwan's expression, the secretary can't tell what he's thinking. He might be angry, or think he wants to escape. Then he hears Director Kwan ask if he wants to go outside. To avoid him misunderstanding it as the secretary tells him it's because he can't get sunlight on. The secretary rehearsed this one sentence in his head over and over. After that he said the wrong thing and get axed by it. Director Kwan explained he'd already added enough vitamin D to the food, so no need to worry. Clearly Director Kwan didn't get what the secretary meant. The secretary slowly crouched down and pointed at the floor where the sunlight came in. Now Director Kwan got it. The secretary's chain was too short to reach the sunlight, so he needed a longer chain. The secretary sat on the floor without another word, but that look in his eyes made Director totally uneasy. After stating his request, he wasn't sure if Director Kwan would agree. He'd been stuck in bed for 2 weeks now. It wasn't that he wanted to leave. He just hoped he could move around more, at least enough to get some sun. Then Director Kwan actually agreed and said he'd arrange it right away. The secretary was shocked. Thank you. He thought it'd be way harder. Director told him to definitely speak up if he had other needs. The guy could hardly believe it. Was this still the same Director Kwan from the novel? And so the guy's chain got longer. He could now lie on the carpet and soak up the sun. What a nice life. Felt like he was alive again. Though he still couldn't use the bathroom, he thought asking Director Kwan for something would come with conditions. Never expected him to just agree straight up. There were other weird things too, like helping him apply medicine at night. Because his mouth was hurt, the food got switched to shakes. He agreed to his request without hesitation. Different from the novel, he put a lot of thought into it. Except for stealing his first kiss, which the secretary still couldn't. Right now, he couldn't be sure if he could make Director Kwan like him more than Yang Yun from the original. What he could be sure of was that he wouldn't hurt him yet. But he couldn't celebrate too early. After all, Director Kwan was the final boss in the novel. Once there was a first request, there'd be a second. Director Kwan told the secretary the room's temperature and humidity would be kept perfect around the clock. Actually, what the secretary meant was he wanted clothes not to stay naked like this. But he had to hint carefully. Fine, he'd just be direct. He told Director Kwan he wanted clothes. Learning what he wanted, Director Kwan agreed again. Then asked if he had any other requests. This was already enough to throw the secretary. He didn't dare ask for more. Next, Director Kwan went to cook for the secretary. Thinking back on everything that just happened, he could hardly believe it was real. Later every day he got designer shirts from Director Kwan, so the secretary got bolder. He started asking for food. Director Kwan made him the fried chicken he liked. Asked for books. Director Kwan brought him the books he wanted. The secretary's life got better and better, and his requests kept growing. Felt like living in heaven. If Yang Yun from the original saw this life, he'd be jealous to death. All those previous requests were actually testing Director Kwon to see how much he'd tolerate. Because there was one final test. After all, long term, he needed to make Director Kwon like him more than Yang Yun. He was both scared and excited about the result. If it worked, it helped the secretary big time. If it failed, he might not just lose his books and clothes. Even his chain might get shortened. Through his report format, the secretary successfully got closer to Director Kwon. Before he wrote about his needs in there. And Director Kwon granted every request. But all this was the secretary testing Director Kwon's tolerance. If it worked, it helped him massively. If it failed, he wouldn't just lose his books and clothes. Worst case, even his chain might get shorter. That day, Director Kwon came home from work. The secretary handed over his report as usual, but the content wasn't suggestions like before. Actually, it wasn't a suggestion or request. Director Kwon opened it ready to reply, but found the secretary had questions for him, since he'd made requests through this format before. The secretary decided to use it to talk to Director Kwon. If lucky, their relationship would get closer. Plus, he could learn about the company or outside world. If he messed up, he'd face unnecessary suspicion. But either way, it was worth a shot. Director Kwon saw the content and asked the secretary if he had questions. The secretary told him yes and explained he didn't do a handover before. Hearing the secretary's reason, Director Kwon didn't seem to buy. The secretary started sweating. Was he too hasty? Could he only go this far? His mood sank, but then Director Kwon told him not to worry. His personal secretary position would stay vacant. The secretary wondered why the position stayed empty. Director Kwon asked back if the reason mattered. He told him he'd already left the company. No need to worry about this. Then started to leave. The secretary panicked. This was totally different from what he expected. Seemed like Director Kwon thought he missed working. That wasn't it at all. The secretary quickly called out to him. He'd been coming home late lately. Was the company too busy? Director Kwon didn't answer. The secretary added, worried that him leaving without handover caused problems for the company. Increased Director Kwon's workload, making him come home this late. He didn't want to cause trouble for other employees. Then he saw Director Kwon turn around. Though he hadn't answered, the secretary guessed from his expression. Had he just solved all those issues? He had no idea what he was thinking. After hearing the secretary out, Director Kwon understood what he meant. He told the secretary not to worry. The vacant position wouldn't affect work. Hearing this answer, the secretary relaxed. Felt like he could actually talk normally with Director Kwon now. So he tested asking about outside stuff. Because when he was alone, time dragged on. He couldn't help thinking about lots of things. His curiosity kept growing. Seeing Director Kwon's expression, the secretary thought he said something wrong. He quickly tried to take it back. Told him never mind. But Director Kwon always surprised him. He actually answered. Then came over to him. Looks like all that roundabout talk was just to ask questions. Whatever you want to know, just ask me direct. The secretary froze. How could it be this easy? Did he really win the bet? But he reminded himself this might be a trap. Suddenly allowed to ask questions. The secretary got excited and didn't know where to stop. Director Kwon told him he could ask anything. If he couldn't answer, he just wouldn't answer. Well, that's not exactly ask anything then. When Director saw he looked unsatisfied, the secretary quickly denied it. So he pointed at Director Kwon's scarf and asked about the weather outside. From his answer he learned the temperature outside. Seemed like Director Kwon really hated the cold. Kwon was speechless at the secretary's question. Is that even a question? If you really want to know, yes. I hate the cold. That serious way of answering was actually pretty cute. Then the secretary asked why this building was always so quiet, like nobody lived there. Director Kwon told him in fact the 5 floors below were empty. Though there was soundproofing, he took this approach, just to be safe. The secretary was shocked. Did he mean he bought all 5 floors, or did he own the whole building? But this was Director Kwon. The secretary figured the latter was more likely. The world of the rich was unimaginable. Then he got curious where the meals came from. Though he didn't know if Yang Yun in the original knew Director Kwon could cook. As the secretary, he already knew Director Kwon made it all himself. But he still had to ask. Director Kwon's cooking in the novel was amazing. No wonder people thought it was bought. Just as the secretary expected, Director Kwon told him every meal was homemade. The secretary seized the chance to ask about the fried chicken too. Director Kwon answered that too, but felt his questions were boring. Got up to leave. Turned out he was going to make dinner for the secretary. Being able to talk with Director Kwon like this today was major progress. Felt like their relationship was getting closer. His favorability went up too. Watching Director Kwon's back, suddenly he stopped. Then turned back. The secretary thought he forgot something. I didn't expect this. Director Kwon was talking a bit differently today. The secretary's heart started pounding after hearing. Slowly opened his eyes. Everything before felt like a dream. Lit up his phone to check the time. Not time for work yet. Thought about sleeping more. Blinked and recalled yesterday. Felt like he had some dream but couldn't remember what happened. Vaguely remembered Director Kwon was going to cook for him, but suddenly turned back. Thought he forgot something. Didn't expect him to come back and kiss him. This sudden move caught the secretary off guard. Felt like he couldn't breathe. That feeling was unforgettable. The secretary shot up. Finally remembered what happened yesterday. Total meltdown. Why did he kiss him like that? Was he always like this before? Then recalled the previous kisses, but yesterday's felt way too serious. Tried to calm himself down. Started asking himself what he felt about Director Kwan's kiss. Did he want it again? Felt like he wouldn't know how to face Director Kwan anymore. Would have been better in the game context. That sudden kiss in this kind of situation messed with his head. Thinking back to when he first got here, the secretary was super excited. Because he knew the story, and was mentally prepared for all kinds of play. But he never expected Director Kwan would capture his heart. He wasn't mentally prepared for that. Before he was worried about falling for Director Kwan, so he refused his kisses. How could anyone not fall for Director Kwan? Suddenly heard sounds. Director Kwan came in. The secretary pretended to sleep and ignored his calls. But Director Kwan's voice was really pleasant, enough to drive someone crazy. Howled him multiple times, but the secretary didn't budge. Director Kwan decided to tease him, then reached out toward him, leaned close to his ear and called his name. Hearing Director Kwan's bewitching voice, the secretary almost couldn't hold it in. Director Kwan lightly touched the secretary's shoulder. Chen, you gonna keep pretending? Right now the secretary couldn't get up because he knew if he did, Director Kwan would see his expression. Then his identity would be totally exposed. Seeing the secretary could really hold out, Director Kwan decided to play rough. Looks like you want an unforgettable sleep experience. The secretary sensed trouble. Before Director Kwan could continue, he quickly got up. I'm up. Seeing the secretary's shy cute look, Director Kwan just felt it was a shame. If you kept pretending, I really would've. What a pity. He reached toward the secretary's ankle cuff. The secretary flinched. Director Kwan told him he was just unlocking it. The secretary was pleasantly surprised. Could he go to the bathroom without the chain? Halfway there, Director Kwan suddenly stopped. Chen, I'm letting you go today. Tomorrow there won't be any regrets. The secretary didn't get what he meant. Director Kwan added that tomorrow was Saturday. In the bathroom, the secretary recalled Director Kwan's words. What did tomorrow's Saturday and no regrets mean? Suddenly it hit him. Did he mean play with no regrets? Meaning tomorrow Director Kwan would cross the final line. Oh man, felt like something big was about to happen. Even thinking about it was exciting. Just seeing Director Kwan's handsome the secretary was already helplessly hooked. Thinking about Director Kwan saying because tomorrow's Saturday, there'd be no regrets, something felt off. Director Kwan in the novel was so patient. How could he cross the final line this fast? Recalled when he and Yang Yin's first time was in the original, but seemed pointless to think about now. The whole thing was developing differently. Rather than think about this,